I'm in love with a man that doesn't exist. Early 2023, I began casually seeing my coworker. He was actually a manager in a different department at my work. He was a very sweet, charming, bubbly personality. He called me darling and made me feel special. We met up on a few occasions and eventually we began to become intimate. Over some time, I began to really enjoy his company, and we would treat each other like we were in a relationship. We would laugh until our stomachs hurts, and when I would speak, he would listen like nothing else in the world mattered, except my words. He would kiss my forehead and hold my hands. One day, it even got so close to us, saying we love each other. I told my parents about him and confidently bragged to my closest friends. Then, a matter of weeks, he became very distant. At that same time, I took a pregnancy test, and it came back positive. I frantically messaged him. I asked him to at least discuss this with me, but he told me I wasn't his girlfriend, and I have no right to make this his problem. I felt absolutely broken. This was the sweet, gentle boy who taught me to begin to love myself, and him alongside that. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. After many tests, it turns out it was a false positive. After the pregnancy scare, he became even more distant. Until one afternoon, maybe a week later, I got a message from a girl with screenshots of him saying the exact same things to her on the same dates. At that point, I had completely detached from him. I desperately wanted him to be that sweet boy I met at work. But that was obviously just me seeing what I wanted to. That was approximately 3 months ago, and I hadn't thought about him for a while. Until a few nights ago when I fell asleep. Suddenly, I was at my favorite childhood coffee shop that has since closed down. It was a bright, cold, foggy morning in winter. I went up to order a hot chocolate when I looked across the cafe and I saw him. He looked exactly the same, but with winter clothes. We greeted each other like old friends, like nothing bad had ever happened. We sat down by the glass windows where I would sit with my mother as a child. We laughed and caught up on all of the things that had happened in these 2-3 months. We had tears in our eyes and smiles across our faces. We looked at each other longingly with absolute bittersweet love. We held both our hands together on the table. A wave of realization washed over me, and I asked him if this was a dream. He nodded Aziz. I remember feeling so devastated. I asked him if we could be like this again when I wake up. I told him I missed this. I missed us. He held my hands tighter and said if I could, I'd make it so in any reality that it would always be like this. I held on so tight to his freezing cold hands. I begged and pleaded that I wanted to stay. I belonged there with him. I didn't care that he wasn't real, because how I felt was real. He promised me that I would be okay, and then I woke up. I began sobbing and begging to fall back asleep, just to spend one more moment with this version of him. I keep trying to fall asleep, and I never find him. I miss him so much, and he's not even real. I'm absolutely, irretrievably in love with a ghost, and for one moment, he was everything I wished he was. In reality, he has since moved on to another girl and seems happy. He moved jobs, but still lives around the area. I don't know what I'll do if I see him in public. I need to remind myself that he is not that man I saw in my dreams. He wears his face, but he is someone else. I'm not overly a spiritual person or believe in signs and alternate realities, but to that man I met in my dreams, if you're out there, somewhere in some parallel universe, please know that you brought me closure. And I hope that somewhere in the universe, in some moment in time, that you exist. That gives me hope, and I'm eternally grateful for that gift. Thank you. I like my girlfriend's best friend, and I don't know what to do. I'm sorry if I'm everywhere with this story. This is my first Reddit post. I don't know where to start this out at, but I like my girlfriend's best friend. Me and my girlfriend's relationship is okay. She's been acting really distant for the past week for no reason, and when I try to ask what's wrong, she's always dismissive. In that time period, when she wasn't talking to me, I started talking to some of my other friends to just tell them what's going on with me and her. I texted her best friend, let's call her A. A is a short, nice, and beautiful girl that goes to my school. When I started talking to her, she was interested in what I was talking about, from me and my girlfriend's problems to things that I like, from cars to sports. We and her started talking more and more, and she started being flirty. And I never caught on until I went back through the texts. She would say, for instance, I love bears so much, and she would have bear emoji next to my name. I didn't think much of it until I started looking at it more. Then I put 2 and 2 together, and I didn't mind her doing that because this girl is everything I would want in a person. Me and her have the exact same taste in everything from music to books and cars. I'm going to keep talking to her and see where me and her get. As for my girlfriend, she responded back to me a few days ago, and it hasn't been the same. If we're on FaceTime and I tell her bye, I love you, I'll call you tomorrow, she will just say bye and hang up. I don't want to break up with her because me and her have been dating for 4 months, but I also feel like she's losing feelings. Me and her were on the phone today just talking to each other. Then she says she will call me back, and she never does. She will go be on the phone with her other friends and be active on every social media app and still not respond to me. I don't want to give up on her, but I do because our relationship is going nowhere. I don't know what to do, and I needed to get this off my chest.